Yo, hoop fans, your sideline sage, Tips and Upstreams, is lacing up once again. On deck, deep dives into the freshest NBA clashes, ready to set the planks ablaze. But before we jump the ball, be sure to hammer that subscribe on our YouTube channel to keep hooked with our sharp forecasts and prime selections. All right, let's bounce into today's NBA Crystal Ball reads. The first prediction for today is for the game between Toronto Raptors and Atlanta Hawks. As the Toronto Raptors gear up for a high-stakes showdown against the Atlanta Hawks at the chilly confines of State Farm Arena this Friday night, the pressure is on for these Eastern Conference adversaries. Both are in the thick of the playoff hunt, adding extra zest to their clash. Despite hitting a rough patch and undergoing a lineup overhaul that led to key players moving on, the Raptors are riding the high of a recent win over the Nets. With Gary Trent Jr. lighting it up from downtown and Emmanuel quickly making waves with his versatile gameplay, they've shown flashes of tenacity. Yet, their shaky performance when playing back-to-back games and a less-than-stellar record in recent outings underscore a season riddled with ups and downs. Meanwhile, the Hawks, despite a stumble against the Hornets, have kept a steadier pace, clinching victories in 6 of their last 10 matches. Trae Young's spellbinding assists and DeAndre Hunter's scoring prowess off the bench spell trouble for any defense. The Hawks' lead in offensive rebounds and shots taken reflects their aggressive, high-tempo game plan, a stark contrast to the Raptors' struggles at the free-throw line and their heavy reliance on collective playmaking. Looking at their recent face-offs in Atlanta, the scales tip slightly towards the Hawks, especially when you factor in their home turf advantage and the Raptors' grueling schedule. Atlanta's scoring versatility, led by Young and bolstered by DeJounte Murray's all-around contributions, makes them the front-runners against a Toronto squad navigating through a transitional phase. Injuries add another twist to the tale, with the Raptors missing key players and the Hawks short of Clint Capella. However, Atlanta's depth, powered by Young's leadership and their rebounding and fast-break tactics, seems better poised to bridge these gaps. Comparing team stats, the Hawks shine with superior shooting accuracy, three-point execution, and rebounding, especially at home, giving them the upper hand. Though the Raptors have had their moments of brilliance, their inconsistency and the challenge of facing a well-rested Hawks team lean the prediction toward Atlanta. Given the Hawks' love for fast-paced play and their history of high-scoring Friday nights, betting on a total surpassing 245.5 points might be tempting despite the high benchmark. In summary, the Hawks, with their well-rounded offense and home court advantage, are set to not just triumph, but also beat the spread. The Raptors' commendable effort in Brooklyn does little to offset their overall defensive woes and quick turnaround, likely resulting in a defeat in Atlanta. Atlanta's knack for exploiting defensive gaps, combined with their assertive play, should steer them to victory in what's expected to be a riveting encounter. My money's on the Atlanta Hawks to emerge victorious and cover the 6.5-point spread. The next prediction for today is for the game between Cleveland Cavaliers and Philadelphia 76ers. Tonight's court showdown features a riveting clash between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Philadelphia 76ers. The Cavaliers are riding a wave of momentum, having netted wins in 10 of their last 12 games, while the 76ers are on a mission to rebound from a rough patch, dropping 6 of their last 8. The hardwood is set for a legendary battle. Coming off a victory over the Bulls, the Cavaliers, despite feeling the sting of recent losses to the 76ers and Magic, are lighting up the scoreboard with an average of 114.9 points on 48.3% from the field. Their defense is a fortress, conceding just 109.2 points. All eyes are on Donovan Mitchell, the team's scoring titan averaging 28.4 points and 6.3 assists, though his game night appearance hangs in the balance due to illness. Darius Garland and Evan Mobley, along with Jarrett Allen's towering presence on the boards, are Cleveland's key players. Facing them, the 76ers, despite stumbles against the Heat and Knicks, pack a punch with Tyrese Maxey and Buddy Hield at the helm. They boast a potent offense, averaging 118.3 points, while their defense gives up 113.9 points. Joel Embiid's absence is a tough blow, but the team's resilience and Maxey's dynamic play have kept them competitive. Digging into the matchup dynamics and the edge of playing on home turf, it's clear the Cavaliers excel in back-to-back scenarios and have a stellar record against teams on the tail end of a back-to-back. The 76ers, on their part, have showcased their grit, utilizing their deep shooting roster and perimeter defense, especially without Embiid. With both squads in their current form, injury updates, and anticipated strategic shifts, this game is shaping up to be a neck-and-neck contest. However, with Mitchell's participation up in the air and the 76ers rallying behind Maxey and their sharpshooters, the advantage leans towards Philadelphia, given their performance metrics and recent adaptability. Despite the Cavaliers being the bookmaker's choice with a minus 5-point spread and an over-under of 228.5, the game will pivot on crucial matchups, especially Garland versus Maxey. The 76ers' capacity to open the floor and exploit their shooting prowess, along with the Cavaliers' potential lineup adjustments, promise an intense and evenly matched showdown. In summary, with the Cavaliers potentially weakened without Mitchell at full throttle and the 76ers' ability to adapt and thrive even without Embiid, Philadelphia looks set to defy the odds, using their home court edge and scoring efficiency. Anticipate a high-energy duel with the 76ers' depth and strategic tweaks guiding them to a slim victory, making them the pick to beat the spread and possibly clinch the win. The next prediction for today is for the game between Phoenix Suns and Houston Rockets. As we navigate through the electrifying NBA season, a thrilling battle looms with the Phoenix Suns gearing up to face off against the Houston Rockets. The Suns, buoyed by securing 5 wins in their recent 7 games, are ready to unleash their top-notch performance. In contrast, the Rockets are desperately seeking a comeback, having faced setbacks in 6 of their last 7 games. This clash is more than a mere game. It's a narrative of diverging paths within the Western Conference. Exploring the stats, the Suns shine with a formidable offensive lineup, posting an average of 117.6 points with a dazzling 49.9% shooting accuracy, largely thanks to the powerhouse duo of Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. With Durant's average of 28.2 points and 5.7 assists, alongside Booker's 27.5 points and 4.6 rebounds, they pose a significant threat that defenses struggle to contain. The Suns' sharpshooting from the three-point range hitting at 37.8%, and their proficiency from the free throw line at 81%, highlight their effectiveness in seizing scoring chances. Nonetheless, the absence of Bradley Beal due to injury might disrupt the Suns' scoring flow against the Rockets. On the opposing front, the Houston Rockets, with Alperen Sengun's 21.2 points and 9.1 rebounds, and Jalen Green's 18 points and 4.8 rebounds, stand as a formidable force. Despite recent hurdles, the Rockets' capacity to average 113.3 points on 46.2% shooting demonstrates their potential for offensive sparks. However, their three-point shooting at 35.1% and a slightly less efficient free throw rate at 77.2% reveal vulnerabilities the Suns might exploit. Looking at past encounters and performances in their respective arenas, historical trends seem to favor the home side, an advantage both teams have leveraged in their recent outings. The home court edge could significantly influence this matchup's outcome. Given the Suns' robust offensive display and their superior shooting percentages, they appear to have an advantage. Yet, the Rockets' rebounding prowess, with an average of 45.7 rebounds per game, should not be overlooked, especially with the Suns missing Beal. In terms of gameplay strategy and tempo, both teams have shown control over the pace of the game, with Phoenix ranking 14th and Houston 16th. This tactical approach, along with their recent forms and the Suns' slightly better offensive efficiency, promises a closely fought contest. Considering the Suns' offensive strengths, recent home court trends, and the Rockets' challenges as underdogs, Phoenix is positioned favorably. Nonetheless, the Rockets' resolve and their advantage in rebounding could narrow the gap in this showdown. To sum up, though the Rockets will display fierce competitiveness, the Suns, led by the offensive talent of Durant and Booker, are likely to prevail. Anticipate a game focused on defense and tempo management, potentially leading to a total score lower than predicted. The Phoenix Suns are poised for victory in a competitive duel that highlights the fighting spirit of both teams, with the Houston Rockets potentially beating the odds. My wager? The total points will fall short of 229.5. The next prediction for today is for the game between Los Angeles Clippers and Memphis Grizzlies. Tonight's hardwood showdown features the Los Angeles Clippers jetting off to Memphis to face the Grizzlies in what's shaping up to be a must-watch clash. The Clippers are coming off a high, having recently dispatched the Warriors, though their journey's been a bit of a roller coaster, with stumbles against the Timberwolves and Thunder. They're aiming to cement their status in the league boasting a high-octane offense that puts up 118.3 points on 49.4% from the field. Spearheaded by the electric duo of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, with James Harden lighting it up from downtown, their sharp shooting from the three-point and charity stripe, coupled with solid boards, highlights their scoring prowess. Meanwhile, the Memphis Grizzlies are looking to claw their way out of a rut, seeking a much-needed win after dropping 9 of their last 11 outings. Despite the rough patch, Desmond Bane and Jaren Jackson Jr. have been shining lights, even as the squad grapples with injuries, notably missing their top guns, Ja Morant and Bane. The Grizzlies' knack for beating the spread against tough opponents lately showcases their grit and ability to hang tough under pressure. A pivotal aspect of tonight's bout is the Clippers' tight schedule, hitting the court for the second night in a row after a tussle in Oklahoma City. Historically, the Clips have found it tough to beat the spread in such back-to-back scenarios, especially on Western Conference enemy turf. This could swing in the Grizzlies' favor, who've got a history of beating the spread at home when hosting teams on a consecutive night. Stacking up the stats, the Clippers lead with superior offensive efficiency, three-point accuracy, and rebounding metrics, particularly in away games. However, the Grizzlies' determination and their recent track record against the spread, especially on their home court against teams playing without rest, shouldn't be underestimated. In their face-offs in Memphis, the Grizzlies have shown they can hold their own against the Clippers despite their seasonal woes. With the Clippers' explosive offense and the Grizzlies' tenacity, tonight's game could be tighter than the spread hints, especially with the Clippers possibly feeling the effects of last night's exertions. Injury updates are key, with the Grizzlies sidelined by notable absences, potentially affecting their game plan. Nevertheless, their recent upstep in performance, even without their stars, has been commendable. Wrapping up, while the Los Angeles Clippers are the favorites, boasting a lethal offense likely to dominate, the back-to-back situation and the Grizzlies' propensity to beat the spread in such conditions suggest a closely contested battle. Considering the Clippers' past difficulties in similar scenarios and the Grizzlies' home court advantage, anticipate a nail-biter that might not align with the 10-point spread. I foresee a Clippers win, but I'm backing the Memphis Grizzlies to beat the spread, making for a tighter contest than many might expect. The next prediction for today is for the game between Milwaukee Bucks and Minnesota Timberwolves. In the thick of the NBA's regular rumble, an electrifying clash is on the horizon as the Milwaukee Bucks hit the road to face off with the Minnesota Timberwolves. We've got a scenario where the Bucks are itching to break free from their funk, squaring up against a Timberwolves team that's on a tear, keen to keep their win streak alive. Under Doc Rivers' watch, the Bucks have hit a rough patch, dropping 5 of their last 7 matchups. Yet, with a 1-2 punch like Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard, Milwaukee's offensive firepower is nothing to scoff at. Antetokounmpo dropping a hefty 30.8 points with 11.2 boards on average, and Lillard's precision from downtown have kept the Bucks lethal in crunch time, topping the charts in fourth-quarter scoring. But their defense? That's been a different story, showing cracks that have only grown in recent games. On the flip side, the Timberwolves are on a roll with a 4-game win streak, flaunting a solid offense-defense combo. Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns are at the helm, demonstrating Minnesota's prowess on both ends of the court. Their defensive stats are through the roof, leading in opponent points and rebounds per game, thanks in no small part to Rudy Gobert's dominance in the paint. When it comes to head-to-head matchups in this locale, the Timberwolves have shown they've got the edge, especially given their current momentum and the advantage of playing at home. Their top-tier defense, combined with sharp shooting from the perimeter, puts them in a strong position against the Bucks. Milwaukee's recent shaky performances, especially defensively, present gaps the Timberwolves are primed to exploit. Injuries and player availability are set to play a pivotal role in this showdown, with game-changers like Antetokounmpo for the Bucks and Edwards for the Timberwolves. Keeping an eye on the injury report pregame is key. Considering the stats, recent form, and the boost from playing on home turf, the scales tip in favor of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Their defensive skill set, paired with offensive efficiency and rebounding, tips the scales against a Bucks squad struggling for rhythm under Doc Rivers. The Timberwolves' knack for stifling their opponents' scoring and rebounding efforts, along with their own scoring ability, suggests they'll comfortably beat the 4.5-point spread. Despite the high scoring potential of both squads, the defensive game plans and recent tracks point towards a lower scoring affair than some might expect. Thus, betting on the total points to remain below the 225.5 mark seems like a smart move, given the Timberwolves' defensive capabilities and the Bucks' recent offensive woes. To wrap it up, the Minnesota Timberwolves are in a prime position to keep their winning streak going, using their defensive clout and balanced attack to take down the Milwaukee Bucks. This matchup is shaping up to be an enthralling showcase of hoops, with my prediction leaning towards the total points falling under 225.5. The next prediction for today is for the game between Washington Wizards and Oklahoma City Thunder. In the high-octane NBA arena, the clash tonight features the Washington Wizards going head-to-head with the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Wizards, stuck in a challenging losing streak of 9 games, aim to turn the tide against the Thunder, who are riding the momentum of 3 consecutive wins. This contest is more than a mere display of skills. It's a duel of momentum, unfolding in an arena where every move, be it a dribble, shot, or pass, matters immensely. The Wizards have been battling to get back in sync, having faced defeats against formidable teams like the 76ers, Mavericks, Pelicans, and Nuggets. With an average score of 114.8 points on a 47.4% shooting accuracy, while conceding an average of 123.9 points on a 49.7% shooting accuracy, their performance has been lackluster. Despite Kyle Kuzma's commendable average of 21.8 points and 6.3 rebounds, along with notable contributions from Jordan Poole and Marvin Bagley III, the team's 35.1% three-point shooting accuracy and turnovers have been significant hurdles. Their defensive struggles, particularly in guarding the paint where they allow almost 59 points per game, highlight the uphill battle they face against the Thunder's dynamic offense. Conversely, the Oklahoma City Thunder are a powerhouse, scoring an average of 120.8 points on a remarkable 50% shooting accuracy and limiting their opponents to 113.6 points on a 45.3% shooting accuracy. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, with an impressive average of 31.1 points and 6.5 assists, together with Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren, has played a pivotal role in their winning streak. The Thunder's 39.3% accuracy from beyond the arc and their proficient free throw shooting at 83.2% are significant strengths. Their well-rounded offensive and defensive game plans have paved the way for their successes. When looking at the team's performances in the same city and their direct encounters, the Thunder appear to have a clear edge, particularly given the Wizards' road struggles and the Thunder's strong home court advantage. The Thunder's efficient play on both ends of the court, along with their superior three-point shooting and rebounding, gives them a favorable position in this matchup. Injury reports and player statistics further sway the odds in favor of Oklahoma City. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's leadership in steals and Jalen Williams' top-notch three-point shooting underscore the Thunder's advantages. Meanwhile, the Wizards' dependence on Tyus Jones for an efficient assist-to-turnover ratio and Kyle Kuzma's scoring highlight their reliance on key players to kickstart their offense. Considering the team's recent performances, comparative statistics, and direct matchups, the forecast strongly favors the Oklahoma City Thunder not only to win, but to also cover the point spread. The Wizards' defensive vulnerabilities, particularly in the paint, and against teams that excel in three-point shooting, are expected to be their downfall. While the Wizards have shown tenacity in scoring and points in the paint, their inconsistent defense and high turnover rate may be exploited by a Thunder team adept at forcing turnovers and capitalizing on them. Given the Wizards' struggles in back-to-back games, especially in controlling the pace and maintaining efficiency, and the Thunder's home court prowess, this game poses a considerable challenge for Washington. The total points over-under set at 241.5 points indicates an anticipated high-scoring game. Nonetheless, given the back-to-back nature of this contest for both teams, a slightly slower pace might emerge, making the under an appealing choice. In summary, while the Thunder are set to continue their winning streak by leveraging their home advantage and superior stats, the expected total points are likely to be below the line, considering the game's context and both teams' recent trends. Thus, my prediction is for the Oklahoma City Thunder to triumph, with the total points not surpassing the 241.5 threshold, reflecting the back-to-back game scenario's challenges and the potential defensive adjustments by both squads. The next prediction for today is for the game between Miami Heat and New Orleans Pelicans. Tonight's clash features the Miami Heat squaring off against the New Orleans Pelicans in what promises to be a showdown of grit and strategy. The Heat are on a roll, having clinched victories in 4 out of their last 5 games, with impressive wins against powerhouses like the 76ers and Bucks, signaling their intent to keep the winning streak alive. Meanwhile, the Pelicans are flying high with a winning streak of their own, having secured victories against formidable opponents such as the Trailblazers and Grizzlies. The Heat have displayed exceptional resilience, overcoming injuries with star players like Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo leading the charge. Despite their offense being ranked 27th in the league with an average of 110.6 points on 46.3% shooting, they prioritize high-quality shots, as evidenced by their 37.2% accuracy from beyond the arc and a league-leading 82.4% from the free throw line. Defensively, they are a fortress, allowing only 110.4 points per game, ranking fourth best and showcasing a robust defense against three-point shots at 36.4%. Conversely, the New Orleans Pelicans have been offensive juggernauts, averaging 116.5 points on 48.9% shooting. Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram have been key contributors, with the team also shining from the three-point line at 37.7%. Their defense, while supporting their offensive might, has been particularly effective against three-point shots, allowing a mere 34.6%. Analyzing the head-to-head matchups and each team's recent performances in New Orleans, the Pelicans have found it challenging to overcome the Heat, especially when playing with less rest, having lost and not beaten the point spread in their last 8 encounters under these conditions. Moreover, the Heat's recent dominance over the Pelicans, with 5 consecutive wins, underscores their strategic upper hand in this encounter. While the Pelicans boast impressive offensive numbers, their struggles against teams like Miami, particularly in back-to-back games, suggest that the Heat hold a strategic advantage. The Pelicans' superior scoring and rebounding are countered by Miami's defensive strength and more efficient shooting. With the Pelicans favored by a 3-point spread and a total points line set at 222.5, the match is expected to be closely contested. However, given Miami's historical edge, defensive strength, and the Pelicans' difficulties with rest disadvantages, the Heat are predicted to not only beat the spread, but also emerge victorious on the road. The total points prediction leans towards fewer points being scored, reflecting Miami's defensive emphasis. In summary, while the Pelicans can put up big numbers, the Heat's defensive rigor, historical matchup advantage, and strategic depth, especially with a healthier roster, position them favorably in this duel. Expect the Heat to beat the spread, with a solid chance of an outright win, leveraging the Pelicans' rest shortfall to extend their recent supremacy in this rivalry. My wager is on the Miami Heat to beat the spread. The next prediction for today is for the game between Charlotte Hornets and Golden State Warriors. Tonight's showdown pits the Charlotte Hornets, riding high on a 4-game hot streak, against the Golden State Warriors in San Francisco, who have been tearing up the court with wins in 7 of their last 8 outings. We're gearing up for a real battle of tempo and momentum in this one. The Hornets have been buzzing despite hitting some snags this season, especially on the attack, dropping in 108.6 points per game at a 46.1% clip, which has them lurking in the lower echelons of the league when it comes to scoring efficiency. LaMelo Ball and Miles Bridges have been lighting it up, yet the squad's offensive hiccups and leaky defense, coughing up 119.4 points on 50.1% shooting, have been sticking points. On the flip side, the Warriors, with Stephen Curry leading the charge as a veritable three-point juggernaut this season, boast a dynamite offense averaging 119.7 points on 47.4% shooting. Their deadly three-point barrage has been central to their triumphs, even as they've struggled to contain opponents, allowing 118.2 points per game. Both squads are bouncing back from consecutive games, throwing a curveball of unpredictability into the mix. The Warriors' knack for keeping their scoring spree alive and the Hornets' push to keep their win streak rolling will be key. The endurance and depth of each team, always put to the test in back-to-backs, will be under the microscope tonight. A look at recent face-offs in San Francisco sheds light on what to expect. The Warriors' home court dominance and sharpshooting contrast starkly with the Hornets' defensive woes and scoring struggles. Despite the Warriors' defensive hiccups, their scoring prowess and edge in grabbing boards, averaging 46.6 rebounds per game, hint at a solid upper hand. The Hornets, meanwhile, need to harness their current groove and the push from their win streak to withstand the Warriors' scoring barrage. With the bookies setting the Warriors as 13.5-point favorites and the total points bar at 229.5, the game promises to be tighter than the odds suggest. The Hornets' recent performance, coupled with the toll of back-to-back games on both teams, could narrow the expected gap. In summary, while the Golden State Warriors look set to keep their win train rolling, the Charlotte Hornets are primed to give them a run for their money, making the 13.5-point spread seem too steep. Expect the Warriors to clinch the win, but not to cover the spread, as the Hornets' recent momentum and grit keep them in the hunt. Anticipate a high-scoring affair, given both teams' offensive leanings and defensive gaps, with the over looking appealing. Yet, the smart play is on the Hornets to beat the spread. The next prediction for today is for the game between Denver Nuggets and Portland Trailblazers. As the NBA season hits its stride, we're gearing up for a compelling face-off with the Denver Nuggets, whose season has been a roller coaster, taking their talents on the road to challenge the embattled Portland Trailblazers. Amidst Portland's energetic vibes, this clash stands as a pivotal moment for both squads, each with their own set of stakes. The Nuggets, having split their recent 8-game stretch, have displayed moments of sheer genius intertwined with resilience. Coming off a tight schedule, playing Washington before jetting off to Portland, they find themselves in a tough spot, especially given their history of faltering in back-to-back scenarios. Traditionally, Denver has found it tough to perform up to par in consecutive games, often not beating the point spread in such situations, with a noticeable slip by an average of 4.5 points in 3 out of 7 games. Their season-long away performance has been a mixed bag, with their defense ranked in the middle of the pack and a habit of letting opponents shoot at a 47.6% clip. Conversely, the Trailblazers are trying to navigate through turbulent waters, mired in a 6-game skid. Their scoring has been lackluster, averaging 107.9 points on 44% shooting, ranking them among the league's lower echelons. Yet, there's a glimmer of hope based on their recent performances against Denver, managing to beat the point spread in their last 2 meetings. Digging into the numbers, Denver's offensive might, spearheaded by Nikola Jokic's versatile game and Jamal Murray's scoring acumen, shines through. Their scoring average of 113.9 points on an impressive 48.9% shooting gives them a considerable edge. Nevertheless, the challenge of an away game following a back-to-back set might dampen their usual effectiveness. The Trailblazers, for all their scoring struggles and injury woes, have a resilience at home. The scoring flair of Anthony Simons and Jerami Grant, along with DeAndre Ayton's efficiency, might just expose Denver's inconsistencies on the road. Moreover, Portland's eagerness to break their losing streak could spur a surprising effort. Reviewing past matchups in Portland, the Nuggets usually come out on top. However, the dynamics of Denver's consecutive game fatigue, Portland's do-or-die resolve, and their recent ability to beat the spread slightly shift the balance. On paper, the Nuggets are the superior team, but given Denver's back-to-back scheduling and Portland's home court spirit, this game may be tighter than expected. The Blazers have shown they can beat the point spread in such scenarios, and considering Denver's road difficulties, Portland is set to exceed expectations yet again. To wrap up, while the Nuggets hold the offensive arsenal to clinch a victory, the Blazers are likely to beat the 9.5-point spread in light of the game's dynamics. The total points are expected to fall below the 221.5 threshold, taking into account Denver's potential exhaustion and Portland's offensive hiccups. The last prediction for today is for the game between San Antonio Spurs and Los Angeles Lakers. In the eagerly awaited clash on the NBA court, the San Antonio Spurs are set to face off against the Los Angeles Lakers, each team stepping in with its distinct style and recent performances. The Spurs, hungry for a game-changing win after a tough stretch of losing 9 out of their last 10 games, showed signs of resurgence by taking down the Raptors, despite previous setbacks against the Mavericks and Kings. On the flip side, the Lakers are riding a wave of momentum, having bagged wins in 6 of their recent 8 games, with standout victories over the Pistons and Jazz, though they hit a snag against the Warriors. Diving into the numbers, the Spurs have been netting an average of 111.8 points at a shooting accuracy of 45.9%, whereas the Lakers have a slight edge with 117 points on a sharp 49.4% shooting. This difference in shooting prowess, particularly the Lakers' superior accuracy from the three-point line at 37% over the Spurs' 33.9%, might just tip the scales. Despite this, both teams are grappling with defensive woes, the Spurs conceding 120.4 points and the Lakers 117.1 points on average. A review of their recent head-to-head matchups suggests a tendency towards high-scoring games, indicating both teams' offensive strengths tend to be highlighted in their encounters. The Spurs' difficulties in three-point shooting and their season-low three-point percentage could hinder their ability to match the Lakers' dynamic scoring. Injuries could be a game-changer, with the Lakers possibly missing LeBron James, affecting their scoring and playmaking. Conversely, the Spurs' Victor Wembanyama is making waves with averages that could significantly impact the game's outcome. Considering the Lakers' current standing and their scoring efficiency, they seem to have a slight advantage over the Spurs. Yet, the Spurs' recent win against the Lakers as underdogs shows they're not to be underestimated, particularly if they play to their strengths in a potentially exhausting back-to-back game for the Lakers. With the Lakers' history in back-to-back games and the possible absence of key players, the game might end with a high score but closer than expected. The Lakers' inconsistency and the Spurs' determination could make for an unpredictable match. In summary, while the Lakers are the favorites with a 9.5-point advantage, the game's outcome, influenced by recent performances and potential for an upset, warrants a careful approach. The Lakers, with their offensive edge and the Spurs' defensive challenges, are likely to win, but the Spurs might just cover the spread, and the total points are expected to exceed the set margin, promising an intense showdown.